Hello, I'm going to be doing a P7S hand-holding step-by-step guide for astrologians slash healers. It's going to be a pretty slow video, but there will be chapters so you can jump around to the part that would be most beneficial for you. I did this week 1 with a sage pairing, which was my ideal. I had a lot of trouble in the party finder with scholars, but I think that was less of a scholar problem and more of a player issue. But I really enjoyed healing with the sage, so I'll just throw that out there. Alright, let's get started. So for the pre-pull of the fight, you're just going to want to make sure you've got your horoscope, your shields from neutral sect, your earthly star. I say earthly star at 3 seconds from pull, then potion, then start your malefic. For astro, you're going to do your regular card stuff. You're going to try and get all 3 seals, pop divination and astrodyne together if you can, depending on what your RNG gives you. But the only healing that you should have prepared to hit after this initial AoE is the earthly star and the horoscope. The horoscope you can let off fall naturally, the earthly star you can hit as soon as the AoE goes out, or you can let it fall off naturally. It's really up to you on that one. And so that Spark of Life is the first AoE here that we're going to hit, and again, earthly star, horoscope. You won't really only need those 2 things. If you have a co-healer that is a scholar, or you're a sage or something, they can throw up a heal over time as well, but you don't need to be hitting like a lot of your cooldowns here. You don't need to be hitting Fey Illumination, for example. You can save that for a damage reduction. You're going to be getting a double tank buster here, condensed arrow. Some tanks, so there's 2 different versions of this, the 2 tank one and then together, and then the 2 tank one where they're separated. For the together one, sometimes tanks immune it, so if your tank is immuning it, just keep that in mind. But I like to give exaltation to 1 tank and celestial intersection to both tanks before this comes up. So you're throwing out 3 different cooldowns for your tanks here, and then I like to Essential Dignity one of the low tanks, probably the one I didn't give exaltation to, and then I also like to Collective Unconscious both tanks so that they both have a heal over time effect as well. So really 5 different spells that you're going to be giving just for this tank buster. And then the co-healer is going to need to be doing some things as well. So Cardia is of course really helpful. It's extremely helpful if sages will switch their Cardia target, depending on which tank is going to need it, especially coming up after this knockdown that we're getting. But basically for Astro, I want you to save 1 heal over time off global cooldown and 1 single target off global cooldown. So I saved 1 Essential Dignity, and then I saved let's see, this one right here, the one that's not Collective Unconscious. So that's all you're going to need to put out. Your co-healer should be putting out something there to help get everyone topped up as well for this AoE. Now, for this, these arrows come down, and your safe spot is either going to be on the left here or the right here, whichever one has the biggest open space. So this one had the biggest open space, we went to the left. Now, he's going to be doing this Immortal's Obol. This is going to do a lot of damage and knock everyone up. You really want to make sure you slide cast your way to the edge. And you can slide cast this every time, but if you have a Scholar Expedient, it is a little bit easier, but not necessary. Now when this goes off, I like to hit off one of my OGCDs that I saved for AoE. That'll help get everyone a heal over time, and usually the sage will also do a heal over time there as well, OGCD, just to get everyone topped. As far as tank damage is concerned, this is a great place for stuff like Cardia and Fairy to be focused on the low tank. You don't need anything else. Now, once the winds passed, like they did, we're going to go to this bridge, and there's really no damage that you need to worry about here because Cardia and Fairy are all you need. Look for the side when these eggs drop with 1 egg. Only 1 egg, and go to that side. And we're going to start preparing heals here. And we're also going to switch to your light party group. So let's see that. So we're sliding over in the bird spawn. Group 1 is going to be here, right close to the boss, kind of next to this marker. And if we were on the other side, they would be in the same position, but on the right side of the platform. For the ranged group, when you see the hitbox of the boss, there's kind of this line. You want to be on this line and then away from the middle of the room. So if we were on the other side, you'd be against this line over there and away, if that makes sense. For healing, we're pretty lucky here. We have a summoner. The Phoenix heal is really nice, so we don't have to do too much. I just prepare an Earthly Star. Earthly Star is perfectly fine to heal this up. And this usually there's a damage mitigation here from the summoner or scholar. So like Sacred Soil can be useful if you want to use that, or Kirakus Call if you're a sage. Those are all pretty good. But a lot of the AoE damage here is topped up by like an Earthly Star. So you can actually let a lot of this damage regen naturally as well. So damage goes out. We pop Earthly Star here, and then what's going to happen is Dispersed Arrow for another Tank Buster. So with the Tank Buster, the party is going to move to the south platform, and the tanks are going to either stack or spread here. As the healers, don't be in this area, slide cast your way over here while giving the tanks the things that they need. So what that means for astrologian in this case is you're going to once again do your double celestial intersection, because you should have both still. You're going to have 2 essential dignities stored because you saved one earlier. Otherwise, one of them would still be on cooldown right now. So when you hit your essential dignity both tanks, your celestial intersecting both tanks, your exaltation 1 tank. And then your bubble is going to come off cooldown, collective unconscious, and you're going to hit both tanks with that as well, once they move back into the party. So let's see that in action here. We're slide casting. Earthly Star was just popped from the last damage. Tanks are prepped with Celestial Intersection and Exaltation, and now we're free to Exaltation both of the tanks. We're free to bubble both of the tanks, and then on top of that, we're going to use Macrocosmos here, while we're cycling through cards, of course, because we're trying to get those seals. So Macrocosmos. Now Macrocosmos here is really for the tanks. I just want to preface that Macrocosmos is for the tanks here. So if sometimes, depending on what the co-healer setup is, one of the tanks may not get everything they need, and so Macrocosmos is your safety net to pop up that tank should they get really low really quick. If they don't get really low really quick, you can actually hold off until the dot is around 4, 5 seconds, 6 seconds left on the duration, and then you can pop it. So you can kind of wait to get the most healing out of it as you want, but in an emergency it's there to just top that tank right back up to safety. And then also, as Astro, you're going to hit your other AoE OGCD to get a more healing over time on people. And your co-healer should be doing some OGCDs as well, like a heal over time, a damage reduction, like Kira is over here. Alright, so this next mechanic, we've got our debuffs, the 2s and the 1s. So this is really simple. You're going to just spread in the 4 corners of this circle. I know it's a circle, but 4 corners. If you have the 1s, you're in the 4 corners. If you have the 2s in the center, and you can ignore this debuff, you can just ignore it. Now at this part, I pop a horoscope, neutral sect, and do an aspected benefit. I put the shields up here along with the heal over time from aspected benefit because it allows me to not heal the next mechanic. So it'll reduce the damage taken here. And then you can see the boss put his little tree stumps on the platform. So we're going to slide cast right up here so that we're ready to go here, or we're ready to go here. The duration on your damage over time is coming up around here, so we're going to be able to use that dot reapplication to move safely to this platform or move safely to that platform. In this case, the arrows are this way, so we're going to go to this platform. We're going to dot. Now when you get to this platform, if you have a 2 debuff, you're going to go to the corners of the room, And if you have no debuff or the other debuff that we're ignoring, then you're going to go to the middle. So basically, if you had a 1 last time, you're in the middle. If you were out last time, you're in the middle this time. And if you were in the middle last time, you're out this time. So you can think of it different ways. 1 and then 2s, right? Or you can think of it 1's out. Oh, I was out last time, I'm in. Or you can think I was in last time because I had a 2, then I'm out this time. In this case, I had a 2, so I'm out. And my spread. And it doesn't have to be a perfect spread, there's lots of time. Now, this part is where cooldowns come up. So you're going to hit your light speed, divination, astrodyne, and then you're going to throw out any cards you have. You're going to use your Lord and Lady, and that's going to be about it. For healing here, if you have a lady, it's pretty nice to use here, but I wouldn't utilize, so Earthly Star is coming up, we're going to utilize that in a different way, so save your Earthly Star. And for this healing here, we don't really need anything yet. Now, usually the co-healer will hit something to help top people up a little bit, but it's not necessary yet because we're going to have some heal over times later. Now, the party is going to make their way back here because there's nothing happening yet. The next mechanic is that this bridge breaks and there's a tank buster following it. So when this bridge breaks here, a tentacle comes up, and if you have really good headphones, you can hear it make like a teddy bear squeaky noise. When that happens, you're going to put your Earthly Star either on this bridge or on this bridge. And it's going to really depend on which platform was a safe spot. So we were on this left one, so I'm going to Earthly Star this left bridge. If the safe spot last time was the right platform, I would Earthly Star the right bridge. And this is just so that tanks don't have to move excessively. In this example, the tanks came back to the party right away, which they're gonna do, but on the next mechanic they may not come back to the party right away, so we want to give them as much space as possible with the Earthly Star. So tentacle went up, we put the Earthly Star down. Now Tank Buster is coming. Now weirdly in this case they went to different platforms, which I don't see very often, but we're gonna do our Tank Buster cooldowns again. We're gonna do double Celestial Intersection, Exaltation, and then we have our Essential Dignities ready as well. Now a lot of this part I don't heal up the tanks ahead of time very much because the instant heal from Essential Dignity, you can use that after you've set up your Exaltation and your Celestial Intersection to just top up a tank real quick. So you'll see me do that here, I believe on the Paladin. So we'll get him up. Now, as soon as they're hit with that, the Earthly Star was at its full power, so I just popped it. And now that both tanks are coming back in, and we're going to hit them with the Collective Unconscious to give them each a heal over time. Now we still have some Essential Dignity left, so if somebody gets low, we have Celestial Intersection coming off cooldown again pretty quickly, so we can hit that on one of the tanks if we need, but we need to save our heal over time AoE spell, like my F4 here. Now we're going to get in position for the next mechanic while the tanks are taking damage. So what's going to happen here is that there's going to be a knockback that you immune that does a little bit of damage, and then there's going to be a big damage on everyone. So you can avoid having to do any healing here as long as you top everyone up with that bubble that we just did, and we get damage mitigation happening before everyone spreads out. So in this example we've got Caricature. Actually maybe we don't, it looks like Caricature actually is falling off. So if your damage mitigation from your co-healer is down, they can just do a GCD shield, that's perfectly fine. But typically you could just do an off global damage reduction here from your Scholar or from your Sage and not have to heal this mechanic at all. So what's going to happen here is Light Party 1 wants to end up on this platform after this mechanic, and Light Party 2 wants to end up on the right platform after this mechanic. These birds are spawning, so that creates a safe spot here, 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 a really small one back here. 2 people can fit on the sides, but what we're doing is just some people will be here, some people will be here, some people will be back here, and you just want to make sure you make your way to the correct platform after the mechanic is over. So you're going to knock back Prevention Surecast as soon as these arrows come out. You can do it as soon as you see the arrows and you'll be fine. So these purple circles are going to come out. You just want to make sure if you're sharing a side with someone not to hit them. So Ashley and I have shared this side a long time, so we had the positioning down pretty well, but there is a small adjustment period you can make if you get it wrong. Alright, so I'm group 2, so I'm going to make my way to this platform now. Around this time the dot timer is coming up, so you'll be able to refresh your damage over time, and you're going to want to start working on your cards, and you're going to also want to keep an eye on the tank HP. We don't have a lot here. We have Celestial Intersection and that's really it, but Essential Dignity will be up really quickly. The tanks are both going to get a melee hit here pretty soon, so while you're moving, feel free to Essential Dignity or Celestial Intersection those tanks at this time. So Malefic Slide Cast dot recast and then get my Lord and Lady up. Now, when we're at this part, if you're astrologian, you can use the Lady card if you get that right here. Very nice time to get a Lady card. I actually prefer getting the Lady card a lot of the time for this part, so I can keep damaging. But also your AoE OGCD here, you're going to use that now, so that you can get a heal over time on everyone, and then you're going to again be looking for tanks being taken care of. Your OGCDs for Essential Dignity, Celestial Intersection are going to go to the tanks. The Scholar or the Sage is going to be doing like pretty much the same thing. You can get a heal over time out, you can get a OGCD regular heal out if you want, but they're going to be wanting to have a damage reduction saved here coming up soon. But the goal here is that the party needs to be topped for the next mechanic, and a damage mitigation needs to be on them for the next mechanic as well. Now the bridge breaks, the tentacle comes up, we're not going to worry about that. We're going to prepare for our next Earthly Star here, where he casts Forbidden Fruit. When the fruit drops, so fruit's dropped, it's on the ground, that's when you can Earthly Star now. And we're going to put that Earthly Star positioned kind of where the character is right now, so it can reach everyone back there. And if the timing is a little off, it will catch the back platform here. If people make their way there and it's not ready to pop yet, it will still hit everybody, even if it's a delayed hit, which is perfect. Now, as you can see, we've got the groups topped up. We're pretty good here. We've got a damage mitigation Caracascottle out. We move in. So I just want to go over that. It happens pretty quick. So we get the AoEs on us. We put the damage mitigation up. The bridges spawn. You're going to move onto the bridges just a smidge. Usually I like to be in this spot, so you're kind of further away from your stack groups a little bit, but you can move in the close spot as long as nobody's like moving early. It's fine. Just a smidge in, damage happens, make your way to the back. And we're just going to slide cast, pop the Earthly Star. Alright, so this part, what happens next is he hits this platform and this platform, right? So a lot of people sit back here. As a healer, you're always slide casting, always trying to minimize your movement. So you can actually sit exactly on this platform, on the edge of this circle here on the bridge. You can just stand there. You can actually stand a little bit closer, but I always just stand right on the edge of the platform, because what's going to happen is we're going to move in and then we're going to go left or we're going to go right. So I like to sit right here to minimize my movement. And as Astrologian, we've got your cards here. We're saving Astrodyne because Divination is coming up. Alright, Bough of Addis is casting. So he's going to hit both. So you can actually, when the cast goes off, when the cast bar has completed but the animation is not done, you can move forward. And sometimes your casts don't line up with it properly to let you go as soon as possible, but sometimes it does and you don't have to wait. Alright, so you can move forward right now. right now you can move forward. And you're going to slide cast forward once. You're going to slide cast forward once, wait for the arrows, and then move to the next one. And you don't lose any DPS, just always be casting. And you only have to move about halfway through the bridge-ish. Now, as soon as you move halfway through this bridge, we slide casted once up and then once to the side, and sometimes you might have to do 3 moves, but that's okay. But as soon as you are safe, you need to start prepping tanks for the tank buster. So again, for astrologian, we're doing that celestial intersection ×2 and that exaltation ×1, saving our essential dignities for when we need it, and preparing our bubble heal over time for when the tanks come back in. Alright, now as soon as you're done setting those up, you're not going to need to heal the tanks. It's a really scary time because your co-healer needs to be giving them things as well, like Cardia and Fairy heals, of course, but also some type of off-global single target for the tanks. So you're going to see them get low, and it's going to be a little scary, but this is also when DPS cooldowns come up. So you need to be hitting your Divination, Astrodyne, Lightspeed, and you need to be doing your Lord and Lady card. You need to be throwing out your DPS cards as well. So you have a lot going on here. But as soon as Lightspeed comes up, hit Lightspeed, Divination, Astrodyne, and then you're gonna card, and then card. If you get a Lady card, you're gonna need to use that for tank healing. I'm sorry, for tank healing in a smart way. If you get the Lord card, just throw that damage out immediately. So we're lading here, we're DPS carding, and then we're gonna bubble. And so after all is said and done, I've got 2 essential dignities pretty much coming up, and these tanks are going to get low here, and I mean low. So what's going to happen is we're going to put our Earthly Star down after the fruit has spawned coming up, and then we're going to watch the tanks very carefully in essential dignity, whichever one is not getting the healing that they need, or both in some cases. So we've got essential dignity, super needs it. Now let's just talk about this real quick. We have a Minotaur that is forcing us to run out from the middle. This is the only mechanic where I feel it's warranted to use aspected benefit during this mechanic. So if you get the Minotaur, you're gonna have slide casting might not be enough. So you're gonna have to run a little bit more. If you end up doing that, you need to aspected benefit a tank. It's the perfect time to do it. Otherwise, if I'm in the middle, I only aspected benefit them if they're really lacking in healing, if they're really being ignored. And I actually make a mistake here, and I aspected benefit myself, which is a huge mistake. Huge mistake. But so the way this mechanic's resolved is that if you're tethered to the yak, you spread out on the yak side. If you're tethered to a Minotaur, you go to the other Minotaur platform. And you just want to be on the side that's facing that Minotaur. So see how I'm across the platform, and then I'm standing on the left side because the Minotaur here is on the left. If you're in the middle, you're going to be baiting just with your position. You want to bait always between the 2 yaks. So see how the 2 people baiting are between the 2 yaks. They're not between a yak, or I'm sorry, they're between the 2 Minotaurs. They're not between a yak and a Minotaur. And you're just going to move after that, reapply your dot, and then you're going to slide cast your way because there's no immediate danger. When everyone's in the Earthly Star, you're going to pop it for healing. Now, you need to have everyone topped up for the next mechanic, usually with a shield. It's just way safer if you're able to shield your party at this part. It's fine if you get a damage mitigation off global instead, but I do think that at least week 1 the shields were recommended. There's going to be a knockback here for light parties. So light party 2, there's this little crook in the bridge here. You're going to stand in between that crook. And it's the same for group 1. You're going to stand in between that crook, but in the middle of the room. Now I also throw out an aspected Helios here just for safety. It's not necessarily needed at all, but it's for safety. Now, as astrologian, you need to hit Astrodyne around this part. It's gonna shorten your global cooldown so that you're not standing in one place too long while these winds go, but also you need to use it anyways because of the way divination and Astrodyne don't align. Let's slide up. You're going to go to northwest and northeast here, or I guess it's more like west and northeast, but that's neither here nor there. So once you get to the safe spot, the next cooldown, or the next ability is the Tank Buster. So we're going to do the exact same thing as normal, except that we don't have all of the tools that we usually have in a lot of cases. So like you'll probably only have one Celestial Intersection, but you still will have Exaltation. You'll have 1 to 2 Essential Dignities. You'll want to prepare all of that for the Tank Buster. You're also going to be getting a Lord or Lady Crown coming up, and you're going to want to Lady Crown the Tank Buster as well if possible. Additionally, you're gonna, once again, just bubble heal over time both tanks when they come in. Hopefully they come in sooner than later. Now, one of the bonuses of Aspected Helios earlier is that it gave us an opportunity to set up Horoscope. Horoscope is so nice at this part. It's just really nice free healing. Alright, so we're just watching those tanks, keeping our single target cooldowns ready for them if they need it, which they probably will. And then the fruit's going to spawn. When the fruit spawns, you can put Earthly Star down. So you see that fruit spawn, Earthly Star is going in the very middle of the room for later. Everyone should be full HP here from OGCD Horoscope or OGCD the Bubble heal over time, OGCD from your co-healer heal over time. But now this mechanic is just going to tether people and not tether people. So basically melee and tanks have priority on the front towers, range and healers priority on the back towers, and when you get in your tower, be all up against the wall. If you don't have a tower, you can have a tether. Straight across the room, just straight across the room. Don't go near the bird, go straight across the room. Hit your knockback prevention when the tower is falling, and it's about almost complete. You can just hit the knockback. It's an easy thing to eyeball. So you could hit it now or now or now, and you're good. Alright, so easy completion there. You're gonna make your way to the middle and pop that Earthly Star. So Spark of Life is coming. People need to be full HP. Do they need to have shields? No, but they need to be full HP. Now, additionally, after Earthly Star, I pop the AoE heal over time here that I cannot remember the name of. As well, I also prep a Horoscope Aspected Helios, but I don't cast it right away. I wait until the damage has happened a little bit to cast the Aspected Helios, so we Horoscope and then we hold it for a couple seconds. There's Horoscope, Malefic, card, Aspected Helios, and then we're just slide casting the whole time. Now, we're going to let HOTS do their work, but you can Horoscope right before the damage happens to kind of buff yourself up for this. Because what happens is the middle of the room has an AoE, we all slide to the same melee side, so left or right. Almost everyone does left, so it's just preference. But for the co-healer, we usually like to have some type of either damage mitigation or a heal over time, and usually the damage mitigation is used for the big hit that we just had, so you'll usually just see a heal over time off global here from the co-healer. Now, when we come up, it's cooldown time. Everyone is supposed to hold their last cooldowns for after the knock-up because they come up right before the knock-up. So we get knocked up, and then we're going to apply our dot while getting in the Lightspeed Divination Astrodyne with the Lord and Lady card, right? We're also going to be using our potion here. This is the perfect potion 2-time for everyone. Everything is just slamming here. Now additionally, there's some damage that needs to be healed up before the next mechanic. So my bubble comes off here, so I usually will just pop that for a heal. The off healer will also kind of pop something. We have a Sage, so they usually shield here while on the move, but it's really whatever their preference is at this part. So what happens here is that we're doing the Brain Dead strat, Purgatory, Sleeper strat, whatever you want to call it. So the markers are in place where if you have a stack, you're 2. If you don't have a stack, you're a predetermined spot north or the predetermined spots south. So this is the 1 through 4 mechanic again. So this is really easy to see. You get spread markers that tell you when it's your turn to spread. So I go to my spread position on AoE number 1 and AoE number 4. So AoE 1 is coming up, so I'm going to go to my spread position first. And then since I don't have anything for 2 or 3, I'm going to go to stack 2 and 3. The other debuff is the stack marker, right? So if you have nothing for 2 and 3, or if you have nothing for any of them, that's when you stack. If you have the weird debuff, that's a stack. If you have nothing, that's a stack. So really, the only way you have to look at it is when do I spread? If you default position to stacking, you just need to know when do I spread. I spread on 1 and 4, and the DPS spread 2 and 3 in this case. Now for healing here, I don't hit anything at this part. There's nothing to heal or prep at this part. And we're gonna get hit with our damage here. And he's casting Light of Life. We need to prepare for Light of Life right after this. Right? So damage, and Earthly Star is going down here. The reason I put Earthly Star at here is I put it at the platform that we start at, because that is where we will be. And I put it towards the bridge because when Light of Life is coming, we're going to be running from here, and we'll be about here, and I want to pop it then so that we're safe to run here without stopping if we don't need to. So Earthly Star's there, redotting. I'm going to my stack position, and then what I do here is I look to see what the other healer was able to accomplish on our move. If we're still low HP here, I'm going to throw out an Aspected Helios or a Helios. Really depends. In this case, I think an Aspected Helios is warranted. The AoEs are going off. Alright, so here's what we're going to do next. Light of Life is going to happen. We need to be topped up, and we need to be topped up after Light of Life. So I'm going to hit Macrocosmos here, and I'm going to hit my off global, heal over time, and I'm going to pop my stars as soon as we are all within range. There's not a lot of time to keep your globals up with this running strat, but we're going to get people safe. Light of Life, Macrocosmos to pop us all up. We all have some heal over time still, and now I'm going to rely on the shield healer to give us something to keep us comfy safe for the next AoE. Now, here we are, we're going back to the next platform, and Light of Life is casting again. So, for this Light of Life, we're gonna do some extra global work. For this one, we're gonna be neutral secting that, we're gonna be horoscoping it if you haven't already. And then we're going to be relying on the shield healer to get some damage mitigation out. Alright, so first damage comes out. I'm popping neutral sect, swift cast, Aspected Helios to get everyone shield, everyone hot, everyone safe. The shield healer did really good here. We are already at full health with their shields as well. So I have this extra bubble here I can use. I'm not going to use it at this part. I'm going to use it to top us up from Light of Life. And I'm going to start... I also just want to pinpoint this when you can start DPSing again. So here we are running for the second Light of Life. I heal, and I get to the end of this bridge. And then you can stop at the end of the bridge to start DPSing and slide cast your way onto the platform, and then I bubble. Very nicely. Then you wait for the AoE to go off and make your way back slowly to the middle of the room. At this point, we're just waiting. We have an Earthly Star here, and we can kind of put it down immediately for damage, or we can hold it off for a little bit of tank healing. If you wait until after the birds spawn or after you're in place for this mechanic and then put it down, it's gonna pop perfectly for some tank damage. So there's that. For this mechanic, what happens, let's just back it up a little bit, is these fruits spawn, and you're only going to be looking at the front 2 platforms. One of these platforms will have no fruit, you go to that platform. You'll also be getting an arrow thing under you, under everyone. You just want to go all the way to the far end of the platform. When the AoE spawns, we're going to make our way to the bridge. Now, I run pretty much all the way over here, but you can slide cast, you can get out of the AoE, you can cast Malefic, and then slide in Malefic again. Now, where we're going is you're looking at the birds. This bird is not looking at us, so we're going there. This bird, you can't see it on the right, is looking at us, so we are not going there. Alright, at this point you need to stop slide casting and you need to run. Now there's not much to do here, your dot's coming up so you can kind of do something with that, but if you need something to do during this run you can aspected benefit the tanks, they will appreciate it. The next part is hectic and it's a lot of tank damages. Tanks get ignored so much and just die to damage during these next mechanics, so don't neglect them once you understand the mechanic and how it works. But you're running, Earthly Star pops, and cooldowns are coming up, so Light Speed, Divination, Astrodyne, Lord and Lady card, and your regular cards. You're doing all of that now. Now, while you throw those things out and you get back to your Malefic spam, you're going to be looking for the platform that spawns with only 2 eggs. There's 3 eggs on the south platform here, there's 3 eggs, you can barely see the 3rd egg on this right platform, and on this left platform from where we are, you see 2 eggs. You're going to make your way to the 2 eggs as quickly as possible. You have light speed during these cooldowns. It's really nice to utilize those light speed casts to help you get over there. Now, when they spawn, my advice here is, now that you're at the 2 platform with the 2 Minotaurs, you want it to be your relative south. You want it to be to your back, so that you can easily see where the tethers go on this mechanic. Because if you're tethered to these Minotaurs on the left, you're going to go to the right. If you're tethered to these right Minotaurs, you're going to go to the left. Super easy. If you have no Minotaur tethers, you're just going to run backwards on the platform you're already on and go south. Now, just an additional note, you're crossing these tethers. So there's always a Minotaur that is on the left and always a Minotaur that is on the right. So like this one has this left Minotaur, this one has this right Minotaur, and this one has this left and this right. But it might not be the best way to think about it for some people, so you can also think of it as the Minotaur close to where you are and the Minotaur far from where you are. So this left Minotaur here is closest to this platform compared to its partner, which is the farthest. So if you're the close Minotaur on one platform, you're going to go to the far Minotaur on the other platform. If you're on this close Minotaur, you're going to go to that far Minotaur, making a diagonal tether pattern. Also, you're going to want to be on the edge of the platform, and you're going to want to be behind your Minotaur. That's just how it works. In this case, I have no Minotaur, so I'm running south, and I'm stacking on the wall with everyone who doesn't have a tether. This is going to lower the size of the incoming AoE and make this super safe and comfy. Now for tethers, you can kind of see how Boomy here is he's behind his Minotaur, and he's tethered to the far one, so he's behind this close one. Manu is tethered to this far Minotaur, so he's at this close Minotaur. Got it? Now, once these orange AoE spawn, your safe spots are going to be right here or right here. It doesn't matter which, just go to one. Doesn't matter how you get there. Alright, minimal damage. The only people really taking damage there are the tether people. So if the tanks aren't taking the tethers, then you can really wait to top them up with an OGCD when you get back together. And if the tanks are taking damage, I like to aspected benefit them because of safety, and I've seen so many tanks die there. Alright, that was the first harvest, easy peasy. Second one, we're getting back together between the platforms at the south platform. And you're just DPS in here. You can put down your Earthly Star, which is going to be useful later, and then you're going to have these fruits spawn. So these fruits, you're going to look for the eye egg that's on a platform. So first thing you're looking at is platforms only, and you're looking for the eye. What we're gonna do is, this is super lucky because we're gonna put the eye platform in our top left position relative to where our camera is facing. In this case, it's already like that, so no changes. Once we've done that, I'm going to slide towards it so that I can get a good eye on the other eggs. So I can see every other egg now, right? And these eggs are gonna spawn, and you're gonna get a yak on a bridge, you're gonna get 2 birds, and then you're gonna get another yak on a bridge. The only one you really care about for how this mechanic plays out is that you're looking for the bridge yak that's next to the platform yak, and you're looking at him. And your question is gonna be, am I tethered to the bridge yak that's close to the platform yak, or am I not tethered to the bridge yak that's close to the platform yak? That's your only question here. So, if you are tethered to the bridge yak that is close to the platform yak, you're going to go to the bridge yak and spread out on his platform. If you're not tethered to this guy, you're going to spread out on the other available platform, which is this one. Okay? Remember, this yak platform's not safe because he's not tethering anyone. So really, your only question is, am I going to this yak's platform by being tethered to him, or am I not tethered to him? And thus, I'm going to the other safe platform. That's it for this one. That's literally it. Now, as a bonus, the platform that doesn't have this guy has nobody here. So the empty bridge can have 1 person over there in the normal strategy, in the normal complete the mechanic correctly strategy. So I just move over a little bit just to make it more comfy, but not necessary. And then the mechanic resolves. Easy peasy, pop Earthly Star. Now I cast Helios and stuff because we are really low. We need to get back to being safe, comfy, comfortable. Safe, comfy, comfortable, because this is progression. So I also aspected Helios and whatnot, and then throw out some more Malefics, get my cards ready. So, next eggs. Here's what I do. I look for a camera position that gets me eyes on all of the eggs. So I can see all the eggs here, and I look for the north one. I treat north as the eye egg. So here's eye egg. And I just make sure I have my other eggs over here. I can see them all. I'm away from the party here, so I can see any tethers that I'm about to get. I want to make sure that everything is very easy to see. And I pop up a Helios in case people get extra damage and stuff. So what's happening here is that you've got that north, in quotations, yak. You've got another bridge animal. So we had the last bridge next to yak animal was a yak. This one is a minotaur. So that one's going to be important. And then you've got 2 birds again, and then you've got a minotaur on the other platform. And then everyone's going to get tethers. Okay, so tethers are out. This is, again, I just want to reiterate, this is the normal strategy. This is not some tank cheese, not some like sacrifice strategy, nothing like that. This is just normal, complete the mechanic simply. So what we've got going on here is we've got the yak, has 4 tethers. He is so easy to remember that job because you hug the yak. If you are tethered to the yak, you hug the yak. So all the purple tethers are going to spread out around the yak. The bird tethers, they also have tethers. See, Astley here has a bird tether. That is so easy to remember too because you hug the bird. You just have to hug the bird. And that one's a little bit like, you just have to make sure you're not in the path of the minotaurs. So if you get tethered to one of the platforms that have a minotaur here, you're just going to make sure you're kind of off to the side here, so that if he's hitting this way and the birds are hitting this way, you're not going to be in that path. They're just off to the side here. For this bird, it's kind of the same thing. If the minotaur is hitting this way, then you just kind of want to be off to the side here. Now, the minotaurs are what really screw people up, because remember, the yaks are we hug the yaks, the birds are we hug the birds, easy peasy. The minotaurs are kind of like the last mechanic. Remember how you have to look for the yak next to the yak platform, and then you either go there or you don't? Like, you go over there if you're tethered to that yak, and if you're not, you don't. It's the same thing here. So this minotaur here I am not tethered to him, so I'm not going over to his platform. I'm not going over to his platform because I'm not tethered to that Minotaur. I'm tethered to the other Minotaur. So I'm going to stay on this platform. I'm going to go away from this Minotaur, the one that's next to the yak. So let me just say that again. What you're looking for is yak platform and the animal that is next to the yak. If I'm tethered to the animal that's next to the yak, I need to go to his platform, right? If I am tethered to the other animal that's not next to the yak, or if you think about it, the animal that's between two birds, then I'm going to stay on the far away platform. I'm going to stay away from this guy, right? Again, the platform that has the empty bridge. You can think of it that way too. And so what you do with these Minotaurs is relatively simple. You take your chain from the Minotaur and you take it through your platform's bird. So I'm taking this Minotaur's chains through this platform's bird. Now, this strategy is the initial normal one. So your tether doesn't break all the way when you do this, which is just a little extra damage, right? So you're just going to need mitigation or a shield or something on those tether targets. So in this case, it was me and a paladin. Paladin has his own mitigation, easy peasy. I have my own mitigation, easy peasy, exaltation, celestial intersection, done, boom. But we have a shield healer, so if he just throws an AoE shield on everyone at the beginning of this mechanic, then literally everyone has something to live. Easy. So let's watch this play out. The one other thing about birds is you have to hit a knockback immune. If you have the bird, you have to hit knockback immune. So we do have a mistake here. Here's Ashley running with the bird. She's going to end up here, which is where she's supposed to be. My Minotaur's here. Perfect. The yak people are going to their side. They're on their way there. But this Minotaur is here, so just an easy prog mistake. But remember that your Minotaur is going to your Minotaur platform, not to the other one. So in this case, he ends up killing Ashley. And what I think was happening was that he was using a different strategy than what we were using. So honest mistake, no shade whatsoever. But also, this bird here is going to this bridge. This is perfectly acceptable. The birds can actually do this two ways, from what I can tell. Is that you can go to the side here, hug the bird, which is great, or you can go to the opposite bridge of your bird. So like this bird has that opposite bridge of it here, and he goes there, perfectly fine. Ashley could have taken this behind this Minotaur, perfectly safe. It's really whatever the bird people are comfortable with. However, the Minotaurs don't have that luxury unless everyone adjusts to what the Minotaur people do. So in this case, we just needed this Minotaur mechanic to go through its bird and be over here. So you'll see that the tanks die here, but everyone else will be fine. See? And I went to about half HP with Celestial Intersection and Exaltation. So we heal up and then we start raising those tanks. Spark of Life is coming, so you have to heal first, raise second. Oh, I'm sorry. Just tapped my kitty by accident. Alright, so we've got Holy 3 coming up. This is going to be a double stack marker, so everyone needs to be pretty good health. And then Bough of Addis. So get in your light parties left, right, easy peasy, and then look for where you need to go. We're going right. Nice little AoE heal there is useful, and then cooldowns come up there as well. So the cooldown combo comes up, except potions don't. So you're going to want a Divination, Lightspeed, Astrodyne, Lord and Lady, all that good stuff. Now, we're on this safe platform, you just stay here. Wherever the safe platform was, you stay here, and you stay grouped up because we're going to get a lot of damage, and you want to heal it with as few globals as possible. If you ended up in a weird situation and you're off globals, then you're going to have to hard cast this, which is not ideal for the DPS check that this boss has. And then it gets prog, everyone kind of gets nervous and hits the wrong thing. Pretty sure I hit gravity 2 at one point here by accident. So we had 1 Spark of Life, heal over time. You're going to want to get as much damage as you can. You can throw out a Macrocosmos for one of them. You can do like your Bubble and your other heal over time. And then You probably won't have Earthly Star at this part, but once it gets to the third one, then you just want to burn the boss until you kill it. The one other thing I want to note is that during this burn, your potion will come off cooldown. So, we get to the safe platform, potions are coming off cooldown a little bit after that. Use your freaking potion, you're gonna probably appreciate that potion. They're quite good. But alright, that's every healing mechanic. Hopefully that can be helpful to some people, utilized in a good way, especially for astrologians. I know you have so many buttons and a lot of people don't really always know where to hit which ones and end up using so many aspected Helioses, so many Helioses that they don't need to. And you're already kind of going to be doing that in prog here at the end, because those mechanics are kind of scary until you end up getting really, really comfortable with them, which usually happens after your prog. So you want to use as less of those heals as you can up until the end. But alrighty guys, thanks for watching. Later.